This 28-year-old woman was featured on Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2018. She dazzled the world with her startup and convinced America's biggest bank to pay $175 million for it. But it was all a lie. Today, she stands convicted of pulling off one of the boldest scams in recent history. Her name is Charlie Javis, and she tricked JPMorgan Chase with a fake empire. Why JPMorgan fell for such a scam? You will be shocked knowing the actual reason by the end of the video. Charlie Javis grew up in Westchester, New York, in a comfortable family. Her dad worked at a hedge fund. Her mom was a life coach. Charlie was a kid who stood out for being smart. She went to Wharton School in Pennsylvania. At Wharton, she wasn't just studying, she was hunting for a way to make her mark. While studying, Charlie came across a problem every student faced. The problem was paying for the college. The free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, was a nightmare to use. It had pages of confusing questions that could make anyone quit. So Charlie had a simple idea. She wanted to simplify this process and make it as easy as buying something online. This idea ignited a powerful spark. In 2016, at 23, she started Frank, a company to simplify the FAFSA process. The pitch was simple but powerful, a website where students could fill out the form in minutes, unlocking money for tuition and dreams. Frank became popular very quickly. In the meantime, Charlie was looking to scale up the app and was looking for funding. She told everyone that Frank was helping millions of students afford college. Investors believed her and invested money in her like she was the next big thing. Charlie had charm, a great story, and a knack for making people believe. She talked about her own struggles with financial aid, making her seem like one who faced struggles and solved the real issue. By 2019, she was a star, named to Forbes' 30 Under 30 list as a tech hero. News outlets loved her. But beneath all the hype, things weren't as perfect as they looked. Frank's website claimed it served over 5 million students at thousands of colleges. That's a huge number, and it got attention. But in 2017, the government called them out. They said Frank was misleading people and was acting like it was part of the Department of Education. Charlie had to change the website and admit Frank was just a private company. It was a slap on the wrist, but she didn't slow down. Instead, she had her eyes on something bigger, a deal that could make her a legend. Enter JPMorgan Chase, the biggest bank in the world. Think of it as a money machine, always hunting for new customers. In 2021, they saw Frank as their golden ticket. Charlie claimed Frank had 4.25 million users, mostly college kids. For JPMorgan, it was a perfect crowd to sell bank accounts, credit cards, and loans. JPMorgan wanted to buy Frank, plug its tech into their app, and turn those millions of students into lifelong clients. They paid a whopping price of $175 million, with $45 million going straight to Charlie. She also got a big job at the bank, a managing director title, and a shot at the high life. It was the deal of a lifetime for her. But here's where the story turns dark. To close the deal, JPMorgan needed proof that those 4.25 million users were real. This was the biggest problem for Charlie, because Frank's real user count was closer to only 300,000. It was way less than she had promised. At this point, most people would come clean or walk away, but Charlie doubled down. She and Frank's chief growth officer, Oliver Amar, made a plan to fake it. They needed a list of millions of customers, and they needed it fast. First, Charlie asked her engineer, Patrick Vovor, to create fake data of millions of made-up names to trick JPMorgan. But Patrick refused, saying he wouldn't break the law and wouldn't do anything illegal. So Charlie turned to a college friend and paid him $18,000 to create a list of over 4 million fake students, complete with emails and phone numbers. It was like inventing a whole town of people who didn't exist. They sent this list to a company hired by JPMorgan to check the numbers. And the wild part is that the company also didn't dig deep enough to catch the lie. They approved her list of 4 million people, and Charlie's scam worked perfectly. Actually, when initially JPMorgan asked for data to check, Charlie refused, citing privacy concerns. So JPMorgan was trying to protect the personal information of Frank customer accounts and avoid privacy issues. So in September 2021, JPMorgan bought Frank for $175 million. Charlie pocketed her millions, got her fancy bank job, and looked like she'd won the lottery. For a moment, she was untouchable, a 28-year-old who'd outsmarted Wall Street. But such lies don't stay hidden forever. In 2022, the cracks showed. JPMorgan started emailing Frank's millions of users, pitching new accounts and cards. The result was a disaster. About 70% of the emails sent by JPMorgan bounced back as those users didn't exist. Alarm bells rang at JP, and the bank started to dig deeper, and the truth came out. Their investigation revealed that 4 million user data were fake. They also found emails where Charlie told her team to make fake emails that would look real. One of her messages even asked if the data would pass a quick glance. It was a con, plain and simple. At this point, JPMorgan was furious. Their CEO, Jamie Dimon, called this deal a huge mistake. In December 2022, they sued Charlie Javis, saying she tricked them into paying for a company worth far less. They kicked her out, and the trouble for Charlie just started. In April 2023, they charged Charlie and Oliver with heavy crimes such as security fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, and conspiracy. Charlie was arrested at an airport and handcuffed, her high-flying life now a crime scene. At this point, the Forbes darling was a front-page villain. The trial in early 2025 was like a movie you can't pause. For 6 weeks, prosecutors laid out their case in a Manhattan courtroom. They showed how Charlie and Oliver built a $175 million house of lies. Witnesses, like the Patrick engineer, told the jury how Charlie pushed for fake data. Her emails backed up his claims, giving cold, hard proof of the scam. Charlie's lawyer, Jose Baez, tried to flip the script. He argued the bank knew the data wasn't perfect and was blaming Charlie to save face. He also said that JPMorgan thought Bank of America might acquire Frank, so they rushed the deal. It was a bold defense, but the evidences were too strong. On March 28, 2025, Charlie was found guilty on all counts. Charlie and Oliver were convicted, facing up to 18 years in prison. Charlie's sentencing is set for August 26, 2025, and Oliver's for July 23rd. Right now, Charlie is out on $2 million bail. JPMorgan is still suing her, trying to take back her $45 million. Forbes, which once put her on a pedestal, now lists her as a cautionary tale, right next to other fallen stars like Theranos' Elizabeth Holmes. Why did JPMorgan fall for such a scam so easily? The reason is competition, especially competition to appeal to more young people. At the moment, Gen Z is at the age where they're in college and just starting their careers, so Gen Z as a customer is the prize. So Gen Z will be the customers who bring in billions with their accounts, cards, and loans over decades. That's why JPMorgan jumped at Frank's 4.25 million users. American Express did the same thing and made many changes in their credit card offerings to appeal to Gen Z. They pushed cool gold cards with dining deals and concert tickets, many more rewards that are irresistible to the Gen Z crowd. You can learn more about how Gen Z made Amex cool again in this video. So, Gen Z is the future, and Charlie's primary customer base was Gen Z. JPMorgan understood the value of the data she held of the Gen Z crowd she had. That's why they paid a whopping $175 million to buy her company. But it all went in vain, as Charlie had only 300,000 real users. Even if she had shown the real number, JPMorgan would have still bought her company for maybe $20 million. Had she told the truth, she'd still be a millionaire. But greed made her a felon.